You know, revisiting Middle Earth is always interesting, and I'm getting a chance to reread through things that I haven't read in a long time, as much as 20 years in some cases. Some of these I just sat on a shelf, and I really have not tapped very often, other than maybe occasionally to rate them for ideas or locations. You know, hey, these things are well worth an investment. I'm telling you, man should always have a good back scratcher. Also makes a good pointer. Point at you. Okay, enough of stupidity. All right. When Iron Crown Enterprises started to envision their game system for Middle Earth, they had an idea that we will do these source books on the core regions of that's touched in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, and then they got their map and they started expanding on that. At some point, somebody come up with this. Well, we need modules, we need this, we need this. It's about the money, but it's also about expanding the existing system. The Fortresses of Middle Earth, this particular one was copyrighted in 1988, so it was created earlier in the creation of Middle Earth. The concept here was, and they actually say it, is that they were going to focus on large structures, just like their cities, right? They had the cities series. Let's see. The Fortresses of Middle Earth series intended to provide game masters with an extremely detailed overviews. You know what? See, I like this reference because a lot of people have some debates about when did we stop calling ourselves dungeon masters and start calling ourselves game masters. Well, I don't know what y'all think. I don't know if there's been topics to discussions of this, but I know that as late as the mid and late 80s, a lot of game systems shied away from DM because it was Dungeons and Dragons claimed. Not that they had a patent on it, but they come up with the concept of a game master, which broadened the range, right? And it sounded better as far as I was concerned. That's why I always refer to it as GM or the game master, right? So anyway. The Fortress of Middle Earth is intended to provide game master extremely detailed overviews of individual towers, castles, citadels, and other fortifications of particular note. Each module in the line that documents the history, design, layout, and garrison associated with a given site. This is no joke. This is no joke. In this particular one, Fortress of Middle Earth, the Teeth of Mordor. This is the Black Gate. In the movie, you see the Black Gate. There's two towers, one on each side, and then there's the big gate. Now, in the movie, they've taken liberty, so literally the entire Morannon, the wall, splits in half and opens as a giant gate. Well, in the books, if you read the books, it's not what it says. It's 3 arches with 3 doors, 3 arched doors, and of course, this is their artist's rendition of that particular gate. But liberties. What do you do? What amazed a lot of people who are fans of Lord of the Rings, especially the recent movies and stuff. And when I sat there and I said, well, that Gondor created those. Oh no, those are creations by the guy by Mordor and blah 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 blah. No, they weren't. And it's just like the Tower of Darnshang that overlooks Shelob's Pass that Frodo and Samwise end up having to deal with. That one is also created by Gondor. It was after and they give you the history of it. When Isildur cut the one ring from Sauron's finger, the long siege of Mordor at last came to an end. Their war had a cost, so the new king of Gondor, his brother Anorion, and his father Elendil, cost the new king his brother and his father. Gilgalad, the high king of the elves, had also fallen, and all the free peoples had suffered dearly. In subsequent scourge of Blackland, Isildur determined that Mordor should never be a gathering place for evil again, and a grand plan to seal off Mordor began from the surrounding lands, or from the surrounding lands began. So that's the truth. Isildur laid the foundation, and through several successors, eventually seen the completion of the towering gates, the fortress, the wall, so on and so forth, as well as a number of other fortresses in and around the Blacklands, with the intentions of keeping a watch over Mordor and preventing the orcs and trolls and what have you from gathering and utilizing what's there to harass the Western lands. And at the time, Gondor was a very powerful kingdom and had the means and the methods and the finances and the muscle to do just this. And they accomplished it fairly well and hung on to it for a long time. And it gives you the history of that, talks about those. And then the year 1634, the plague hit, wiped out a lot of people. This is when we see the beginning of the downfall or the decline of Gondor. Then it talks about the ring rest and re-entering Mordor, setting it up, the preparations for war, the teeth after Sauron's fall again. So, meanwhile, the majority of this, though, focuses on the layout, the blueprints of the fortress itself. And in this case, we got two towers with a gated wall in between. So we got there are three parts to the design of the Morannon, the Charhost and Narchost and the Morannon wall. You know, two guard towers and let's see, Fang Fortress and Fire Fortress are so Charhost is the Fang Fortress, Western Tower of the Pair, stands at termination, blah blah blah. Then you got the Morannon. Now, I think as typical of ICE, they did some really good layout artwork, and I've utilized some of these as both internal dungeons for underground and for fortifications and palaces and a number of other things. This is a ready-made construction that you can use over and over and over again by just repopulating it and calling it something else. You can even make an argument that, well, this particular kingdom used a set of specific type of style of building. This is a common one you're going to find, blah, blah, blah. So, look at that. Like I said, every level, every building, every room, everything's detailed, even to the point of giving you some additional artwork. These are great mods. These are great books, great additions. I love this one. I have tried to pencil draw this a couple times myself. Nowhere near as nice as what they've done, but it's a good practice. If you're trying to be an artist, you want to write, you got to write every day. If you want to be an artist, you got to draw every day or paint every day. You have to work at your skill. It isn't as natural as most people think it is. Anybody can learn. Some people just have more drive to do it. Then we talk about the garrison, Gondor's garrison during the time of Gondor's controlling it, the Mordor's garrison. And then we got the Bioford Dwar of Waugh. He is the third-ranked Nazgul in his history and his stats. And he's a nasty little bugger, I can tell you that. The dog lord. It goes about 2 pages worth of his stuff. The Mouth of Sauron. These are serious bad guys that you could utilize in other games for other reasons or control. Garrison, the Hounds of Morannon, the Flying Beasts. And then we get a handful of adventures in the back that you can tap into. And as I said before, they picked the year 1640 roughly in that aspect, in that era of 1,000 years before the War of the Ring, and where you still have Moria is still populated by dwarves. You still have Arthedain, parts of Arnor still in the hands of the Dunedain. The hobbits are just arrived to the Shire and just settling it. The elves are in larger numbers with more community still posted around. It was a good time to be playing, an RPG, and I think that's when they picked it, and I haven't had a disagreement with it. So it's not a big book. It's on par with a module, but it's not a module, not really. This, like I said, is I don't want to call it a source book, but because it doesn't give you a huge amount of extended material, but it is a specific site book. Very good. And there's a number of these in the set. Unfortunately, they didn't get to nearly as many of them as I'd like to have seen. Like I said, they were coming out with these every 4 or 5 months. They'd come out with one of these, just like every 6 to 10 months they came out with one of the cities. It was just an addition to have a wide range of stuff for MERP, which is what makes MERP such a good system, because it does encompass a lot of things that doesn't fit the normal standard of a lot of other role-playing systems. Plus, the material in here is useful in a wider range, which is typical of Rollmaster. If you're familiar with Rollmaster at all, that was the concept of Rollmaster and Space Master and some of the other installments from ICE in the early days. Was they weren't world building per se. I'd have to say MERP is their real attempt at world building a specific world, such as Faerun or Greyhawk or Urbine, however you want to pronounce it. You know what I'm talking about. On the other hand, Rollmaster, most of the rules were, this is the rules to play a game. You build the world. Well, there's your world. Good stuff. Have it. Don't have it. I got it.